this is John Sadak, TV voice of the Cincinnati Reds, and you're up for Late Night Reds Talk.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of Late Night Reds Talk Live, part of the Believe Podcast Network and Bet Online. We're back and better than ever. A new web interface for the rest of the NBA season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. Bet Online remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile version of the website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BLEAV 50, to receive your bonus. I'm Tim Daniel. I hate doing ad reads. I'm really bad at them. I apologize. But we're here. We're excited to be doing the show, even though there's not much baseball to talk about right now because of the lockout. But that's okay. We're going to make it work. I'm here as always with our producer, our man with the plan, Mr. Nick Kirby.
What's going on? Welcome to the baseball lockout season. But we're not locked out, are we, fellas?
Nope. We have our faces on our avatars for Twitter.
Can't take us down.
Can't take it away from us. Also joining us, former big league pitcher, where if he were still in the big leagues, he also would be locked out right now, but he's not. He's with us.
I'm free.
Mr. Carlos Guevara.
What's up, boys? How's it going?
How are you, buddy?
Good.
Good. So, folks, we're excited to be here. Obviously, a little bit of a weird time. The fact that baseball is not a thing right now where players can't sign anywhere, no trades are happening. And like we said, everyone's information was removed from MLB.com. So we're going to kind of go into just real quick, just kind of touch on it. So the MLB lockout is in full effect. It's unanimous vote from owners. The first MLB work stoppage since the 94-95 seasons. There's no contact between teams and players, no trades or free agent signings going on right now. And, and players also have no access to team facilities. So with that being said, we knew this was coming. It still kind of sucks, though.
Yeah, it was super weird on what was it? Was it Wednesday night, Tuesday night? I don't know. Whenever it was, we knew it was coming. We knew it wasn't unexpected or anything, but it was still just weird. And the players faces being taken off of the websites. I mean, I guess there's a legit reason behind that because of some sort of labor law. I don't think it was necessarily just MLB being malicious. But yeah, it's just surreal. And I guess in this current time that we're in, it's just so much different than anything before. Not that really I remember all that much about 1994, but it's just different.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Heck, they don't even seem to be talking about ball as much, not even on MLB TV. Got nothing but old games going now, and which is kind of cool. I like that. I saw Griffey's 500th earlier today. That was nice.
That's going to be our podcast now. Is we're going to do game recaps of the MLB Classics that they show on the MLB Network. That's what we had during the lockout, folks. So you remember when Griffey hit his 500th? It was like his second or third at bat in the game, and
yeah,
it's just weird. MLB Network during the offseason is typically tons of player interviews, tons of behind the scenes stuff, and there's none of that. I would not want to be an executive there trying to figure out what to put on the air. I would not want to be someone trying to sell tickets for a baseball team right now that I can't, put faces on the tickets. We have to put veteran first baseman bobblehead giveaway on our website. It's a weird time.
So I was driving the other day, I was working a game, and they had the billboard up for the Jonathan India bobblehead where if you got the 6 package, you got a guaranteed one. So, but it still had his picture and stuff. So I think that probably will be changing in the next near future, I assume.
Yeah, at least for a little while. I don't know. What do you guys think? How long do you think this is going to go on?
I don't know. I mean, it's hopefully not super long. I don't really want to lose part of the season. Especially when you do an MLB podcast that makes things really hard.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man, because it's just they said they met for what, like 7 or 8 minutes, and they were like, all right, and then they left, and it's like, oh boy. So it sounds like they went into that with the expectation that's, they're going to shut it down. So I hope it's nothing, I hope it's just kind of like a few weeks. We still got a full spring training and everyone's A-okay. Carlos talked quite a bit this year about like Joey and just how tough it was for him when he got, to have a shortened spring training and kind of get back in his groove, and then his injury and stuff. It's like, you don't want that to be the whole team in that circumstance, maybe, or all of baseball at that point. So hopefully it's just, at the most, by the Super Bowl, we're talking about like spring training starting up and pitchers and catchers report in the next few days. But I don't know, man. I don't know if we have anything that says like there's this update that could change.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything out there saying that everybody's just purely a guess right now. I mean, I guess I'd say first week of March they report everybody all at once. It's going to be my guess. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, it's, none of the insiders really have any sort of idea. They're all like just saying, we have no idea. It's a complete guess. Normally you hear someone like kind of like at least be speculating, but they are all just as clueless as we are. But yeah, I'd probably lean more towards like what Carlos is saying. There's no sense of urgency right now, and there's not going to be until there's some sort of deadline, at least like in the rearview mirror, so, until like there's that spring training and there's, really pressure, I just don't think they're going to really, either side is going to be, pressed to make a deal. So I would be surprised at this point if we have full, like they're ready by the date that we have now, the pitchers and catchers are set. I'd be surprised if that's not moved back.
Yeah. I hope it's not, but this doesn't feel very good, Bob.
Yeah.
Not great, Bob.
Ultimately, as long as the season itself is not disrupted, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Now, there may be some real body blows from both sides that really have some ugly, lasting effects. But just in general, as long as games aren't impacted, I think in a couple years, this will be kind of more of a footnote. But if you have games, even if it's delayed a week or 2 weeks, that is just, it's not good for either side. It is a complete disaster for both sides. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt everyone's pocketbooks.
Hey man, last time this happened, well, I guess not really last, but last time the season was delayed because of a lockout. 1990, Reds won the World Series. 2022.
I think it was last time the owners enforced a lockout. The Reds won the World Series. The 95 season was delayed, but that was actually the players went on strike, I think was the difference. But hey, the Reds made the playoffs that year too. Hey, I'd take an NLCS berth in 2022.
Yeah, we all would.
So yeah, sign me up. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm in. All it takes is just the season stopping and things go well for the Reds, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I don't know, man. I just kind of, I did kind of appreciate, the players having fun with all this until Trevor Bauer got involved, and like typical Trevor Bauer had to take things too far and do something really stupid. Such a shitbag. But yeah, I definitely, Johnny Cueto and Jose Ramirez, like you have shown there. They're like, can we at least get my hair in those photos? Were pretty funny. Here's one thing I don't understand. So this comes out, and it's like, everything's off base. No one can do anything. But then, like, John Heyman's like making reports that like Curtis Granderson is in consideration for the Mets managerial position. It's like, how is that happening if we can't like do any conversations right now? Like, how does the Grandy man get away with it and no one else does at this point?
Well, it's just the players that are locked out, just people who are associated with the players union. So like David Bell's still like a Reds employee. He's still expected to do whatever the hell they do during the off season. I mean, pitching game plans. I don't know, but they're still employees, and they're still expected to, work whatever that is. I know we'll get into it later, but like Alan Zenter, the hitting coach, was like working with guys all the way up until the lockout. But yeah, all those guys are still employees. They can still hire managers. They can still sign guys to minor league contracts, but they can't formally give them a spring training invite until the lockout's over.
Ah,
so yeah, there's some caveats to it that make it a little interesting.
Yeah, I guess the big thing here now is at this point. So like, is this going to be like a rush free agency? Like, are we going to see guys like as soon as like that thing's open? Like a couple of years ago when the NFL had their lockout, and it was like there was like 2 weeks before training camp was supposed to start, so all of a sudden all these guys are getting contracts. Do you think it's going to be kind of something like that, where it's like, all right, well, they can report on March 4th, opening day is March 31st, and Nick Castellanos just signed a contract. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's gonna happen fast.
Yeah, it's gonna happen fast and furious, and I don't know whose side that it'll be a benefit for. I don't know if there will be teams panicking and overpaying for players because they are, like the Yankees haven't signed anyone. They've signed nothing, So I don't know, or if it'll just be players are just so, hey, I don't want to be the one left out. I don't want this dragging into the season starting. So yeah, I don't know. If we're playing, the Reds are, actually, would actually spend money. I don't know if it was a good decision, if it was a good decision to hold off or not. I really don't know. It could be a good decision. It might be a bad decision. I guess it's kind of a gamble either way. Like, do you think Corey Seager gets $325 million or whatever he gets when they come back and there's like kind of a rush? I mean, I think that was a calculated move. I don't think I'll get that after, but you don't know. I guess Carlos Correa will be the real interesting, because if he isn't able to get like the same deal as Corey Seager, when he's clearly I think a more valuable player, at least for the long term, then clearly, Seager signing early was the right move.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just love how Correa's name keeps coming up with the Red Sox and the Dodgers. Like, it'd be great if he went to one of those two teams.
Yeah, it's hard to see him not ending up on the Yankees. Just they have such a need, and
yeah, he's the perfect fit for the Yankees. Ugh.
Oh yeah. He fits Yankee. That's your Yankee shortstop.
He's just he's an A-Rod mini. Although I liked A-Rod a whole lot more than what I like Correa, but ugh.
Fun fact: Carlos struck out Alex Rodriguez in a Major League Baseball game.
No big deal.
We're gonna have to get video of that during the.
I was gonna say we're gonna
the real Death Valley of the.
Yeah, I need to
podcast and have
my neighbor so he can do whatever computer nerd stuff to it and send it to you.
Have a full breakdown, pitch by pitch, frame by frame. Maybe analyze the spin. Maybe we can get a StatCast expert on the show.
So slow.
Nick Hundley
takes forever to get there. I'm like, what the hell?
Nick Hundley kept asking for a fastball, and I said, no way. I'm
not doing it, man.
Oh, man. I love it. So I guess, I really don't know if it's good or bad from the circumstance for the Reds, just because, everything's so up in the air. And I think that's the theme of this episode is, I don't know, because it's just, like I said, no insider has any thought process how long this is going to take. I know that we've seen the social media jokes that, oh, it's just like the Reds. They can sit around and do nothing. It's not very funny. Your jokes aren't good, guys.
But, so did the Yankees. I mean, they didn't do anything either. So
that's exactly, yeah.
I think it was a calculated move by certain teams to sign and others that didn't. I mean, like the Texas Rangers, they had to fill a whole roster. So they're in a completely different boat than really anyone else in baseball. I mean, they had literally nothing on their payroll. So, they don't necessarily, I think, have to be as, particular with their free agents because they just need to sign guys. Whereas, other teams are, we only need to sign one or two guys. We need more calculated to really fit our roster. But, the Rangers can just sign some guys and then, fill in those extra pieces later with whatever's, kind of left. So they're just in such like a different, I think, situation than everyone else.
Yeah.
The really interesting thing to me is, does this mean that, Castillo, Mahle,
You go.
Gray, whatever. Does this, mean they're probably likely Reds in 2022? Was like the lockout kind of like the deadline? Is there going to be a mad scramble and some team overpays then? I don't know. I mean, I think I think they made it to the lockout. I think they're definitely, their chances are lower, but I don't know. Was that, what was the thinking there? Is it we're going to try to trade him before, and if not, well, we didn't do it. All right, we're planning to roll with them, or they're still going to be shopping them when they come back.
Who knows? I mean, this is a whole freaking guess. This whole show is going to be a guess of what we think might happen.
Yeah.
We don't know shit.
And here's our crystal ball.
Uh,
But I think if I had to guesstimate, and that's strictly what I'm doing here at the moment is guesstimating, I would have to say that this is probably more of like a situation where it benefits the Reds for those guys to still be on the team, just because that window to trade them gets much smaller. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have as much time to like work out negotiations at this point because you have nothing you can really do. Unless they do like the full-fledged NBA thing where it's like free agency opens at 6 o'clock and Lonzo Ball signs at 6 o'clock and 30 seconds. So it happens to have a sign and trade, but I don't see that being the case.
Yeah, I mean, the general managers are still working, so I don't know. Are they still? I haven't really seen anything that says they can't be like talking about players. So like, could it be the second the lockout ends, boom, trade happens, or they're sending guys for physicals as soon as the lockout ends to start the process of trades. And that's a whole nother layer to this that we, we have no idea.
we're gonna have to do 2 shows with that first week we come back.
We're gonna have an emergency show every night.
There's gonna be 30 transactions each day.
What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean?
I'm not down for the 3.5-hour podcast like Joe Rogan.
Nope. That's not my play. I'm not for that at all.
90 minutes is our max.
Yeah.
Those are reserved for Clay.
Love you, Clay.
Well, I mean, we could still have them on, Clay and Bryce, because the minor leagues, if you're not on the 40-man, you can still like work out and stuff. So
we're going to really be
have,
starting
like,
to talk about the minor league.
Whenever the Dominican League playoffs start, we need to watch those a little better.
Maybe we can get streaming rights so we can just like do like a thing where you can just like watch the game on this and people can watch it with us.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm with it. Yeah. All right. So, oh boy, we're running through this pretty quick. Yes, the Reds did actually, the cheap Reds who don't spend money on anyone, let everyone run away, did tender contracts for all 10 of their top arbitration eligible players. So Luis Castillo, Jesse Winker, Tyler Mahle, Tyler Naquin, Amir Garrett, Kyle Farmer, Luis Cessa, Lucas Sims, Jeff Hoffman and Nick Senzel are all back on the team on big league contracts. So much for letting everyone walk.
Yeah, I mean, I think this at least signifies that the Reds aren't doing everything possible to cut every single dollar they can. I said something about, Naquin coming back being a positive sign. People are like, well, that's just a cheap way out of Castellanos. Okay, well, they still could have had TJ Friedl play right field next year for the league minimum. That's still $3 million plus that they're, spending that they could have cut. So, I mean, I don't know if it's a sign that, hey, they're actually, really going to be aggressive, when we come back from the lockout or not. But I definitely don't think it's a negative sign. I think this is definitely a positive sign in the right direction. Because there's, like Naquin was the perfect guy that you could just, all right, there's $3 or $4 million that we can just, pocket and just, play TJ Friedl or Aquino or whoever else. So, I definitely think that's a positive sign. I'm happy to see all these guys back. They all have value. Even Jeff Hoffman, he has value. You need that pitching depth because there's going to be injuries in spring training, and there might be even more with, guys, maybe coming back rushed, not getting that full, I don't know, Carlos can maybe speak to that. I mean, do you think there could be maybe some potential more injuries if we're like jumping in and there's only like 2 weeks of spring training or something like that?
Yeah, there would probably naturally be a couple of more than normal, but
maybe not injuries, maybe more guys not ready. Like maybe guys that were coming back from an injury or something. If they're like, hey, I'm not ready in 2 weeks. I'm going to need another 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe there might be more situations like that.
Yeah, there could be. Yeah, because I mean, these guys can't even work with those team doctors either. So those guys that are rehabbing are going to have a rehab on their own, which really sucks for those big injuries.
Have you ever had to rehab on your own when you weren't affiliated with a team or anything?
No, I only had bone chips taken out, so that was just basic, PT. Like they sent me home right away from the doctor, and I could just work with one of the PTs here in town, and because it was nothing like baseball specific, it was just going in and breaking up cartilage and stuff like that.
I think it was Jameson Talion, however you say his last name. He was one that was, rehabbing from an injury and, said, hey, where do I go find a doctor? Had no idea. What do you think that a situation like that, if you're coming back from maybe Tommy John surgery or something really, I mean, I would assume that some of these guys, I mean, they obviously, like, this lockout just wasn't just sprung on them. Like, I would assume there was some sort of plan or something with at least the team doctors.
Yeah, I'm sure they got word to their agent where they could go and kind of continue rehabbing with the same plan. So,
yikes. Yeah, it's so crazy, man. I never thought in all my years of doing podcasting that we'd be talking about like a team not working or like a league just shutting down. Like, I was still doing basketball podcasts during COVID.
Yeah, this is a whole new world, Tim.
It's a whole new world. All right. So before we get to our next segment, we got to go real quick. I have a word from our sponsors at Lightbox. Say goodbye to dull gifts, lightened lab-grown diamonds, and the brightest gift of the year. Using cutting-edge technology and innovative techniques, they've cracked the science of sparkle, creating the highest quality lab-grown diamonds you can find at a light price, $800 per carat. They have the same chemical makeup of natural diamonds, but are just grown in a lab. Because of their process, they can create stones in blush pink and beautiful blue as well as classic white. Lightbox lab-grown diamonds are a gift they'll never want to take off, priced so they won't have to. They really do make the outfit sparkle. Visit lightboxjewelry.com to add sparkle to your holiday shopping. That's lightboxjewelry.com. Lightbox Diamonds, never a dull moment. Alrighty. So, with that being said, let's get to here. We have there has been some sort of transactions going on, like I said, without being able to do invites for Major League Spring Training. The Reds did have signs 5 minor leagues to have 5 minor league signings to the team, including Philadelphia Phillies former catcher Andrew Knapp, former second-round pick, had a solid 2020 in the COVID season, but struggled last year. Was a top 100 prospect in 2016, and so looking at the potential for the backup for Tyler Stevenson, he's going to be a name that'll be in that conversation. So, we got something to talk about as far as like that move.
Yeah, and these guys were right before the lockout buzzer sounded. So these guys actually do officially have spring training invites. Not like it matters. I mean, they could still sign these guys. But they one other piece to that is they can't sign anyone with any sort of guarantees. So for a minor league deal, like they can't sign a guy to a minor league deal and then have a guarantee that if you make the team, you're going to get 1.5 million. I think that's like something that the Reds have done before in the past with some of like the starting pitchers that they brought in on minor league deals. If you make the team, you get, so much money. But I like Knapp. I mean, I think he's definitely a guy with some upside. Anytime you see a catcher with a 130 OPS plus in a season, even if it was less than 100 plate appearances, I mean that definitely sticks out. He's not a good defensive catcher at all, based on every metric that we have. But as a backup, might not be the end of the world. But he's definitely a guy that has some upside. I would say he's probably going to be under really, really strong consideration to make the team. And then I can never say his name right. The guy that played for Team USA, it would be better off to send him to AAA to start the season, to keep you having some depth at AAA, to save yourself from injury. But man, he's definitely a guy with some upside. Definitely a guy you love having on a minor league deal.
Yeah, definitely worth a shot. Like I said, we know there's obviously a void there, so guy could probably get a good chance to make things happen. Also, kind of getting the minor league invitation for spring training. Trey Wingenter. Did I say his name right? I think I did.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Relief pitcher. Has hit 100 on the gun before. Had Tommy John right before the 2020 COVID season, then a back injury in August, but they expected to be ready for the 2022 spring training. I mean, this is kind of just a depth piece we can kind of talk about. Carlos, I don't know if you recall his time with the Padres and seeing him much, or
never heard of him.
I like him a lot. I think if he can stay healthy, he's got a really, really good chance to make the team. I have the best chance of any of these guys. I mean, this is a guy that can hit 100 miles an hour, has some really good, peripheral numbers, can strike guys out. He's just struggled with command like most pitchers. I don't think he's in the Cino Perez struggling with command category. Maybe more of the first half Lucas Sims struggling with command category. But yeah, I mean, this guy with a lot of upside. You see kind of the StatCast numbers if you're watching from 2019. There are really some eye popping statistics there. So if he's healthy, I mean, man, that's just a great pickup on a minor league deal that could potentially be a really nice piece in the bullpen. You can't have enough guys that can throw 100.
No, yeah, that'll be exciting for him to, get him in there in spring training, get to work with Derek Johnson for a little bit. I'm sure he's got the lead what to do this offseason and what to work on as well. So that's all exciting stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I like the K rate. That looks very good on the StatCast page. I mean, on his Baseball Savant page.
Yeah, I mean, he's also he's induced some pretty weak contact and not good contact or whatever. So go Trey.
Yeah,
I believe in you.
Yeah.
Next slide, please.
Alan Córdoba.
Picking up all the Padres.
Not just that Alan Córdoba, the Alan Córdoba. Today's his 26th birthday. There's that.
Happy birthday, Alan.
Happy birthday, Alan. Man, so he hasn't played in the major since 2017. So he was like 22?
Yeah, so he was a Rule 5 draft pick by the Padres. He was signed with the Cardinals. So the Padres picked him up. He was like that Stuart Turner special where you keep him on your roster the whole year just so you can have him. Once you keep him on the roster the whole year, the next year you can send him to the minors. So that's really the only reason he played in 2017. So, his 55 weighted runs created plus, just throw that out the window because he wasn't ready. It was just a player you pick up to, that you like the upside with him. But yeah, man, I like that he can play just about every position. He mostly only played first base and third base though last year in the minors. So I don't know how realistic him playing like center field is, but he had a nice year. I mean, 392 on base percentage last year in Double-A for the Padres. So he's a guy with some upside. He's only 26. He's a player you bring in and you hope you strike gold with. He probably won't make the team. But he's at least there's some positive upside with him, and he's got a little bit of speed too. 32 stolen bases in 2019.
Does that say he played 4 years of rookie ball?
Yeah. I mean, he was age 17 though, his first year of rookie ball. I mean, so
that's true.
So yeah, he's had a long tenure in the minors, but I mean, he was really, really young. So
yeah, I like the 32 stolen bases in 2019.
Yeah. Were the Padres good in 2017, Carlos?
No.
Yeah. So that's why he was on the roster the whole year.
Yeah, probably. Talk about the Yankees losing guys. I mean, you can't lose Trey Amburgey, right?
This is the guy that is least likely to make the roster. Now I'm sure he'll go to camp and like hit 10 home runs or something.
Yeah.
Just I don't really see a whole lot of upside with Trey. My apologies to the young man.
This will be the guy that next year Nick's like fighting with us about, like, that he needs to get more at bats, and we're like, no, he's not good.
He really can hit left-handed pitching. Just
Nick would never.
Like, was it Scott Heineman? He'll be the Scott Heineman of this year.
Oh, I think this guy has less upside than Scott Heineman.
Yeah, we shouldn't insult him. The guy's chasing a dream, but
hey, I mean, he got four plate appearances this year traded. Nice. I don't know if he came up in like a pinch or whatever, but yeah, 0 for 4. But he still searching for that first hit. So
yeah,
we're rooting for you, Trey. Carlos, you got any insight into Trey?
Hopefully, we don't need to see him this year.
Things are really going bad if we see Trey.
If Trey makes an opening day lineup, we're cutting this shit off.
It might be the end of Late Night Reds Talk Live. We'll at least have to do the show on like a tape delay.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm up for that. Oh, man. That's good stuff. And we have Brandon Bailey. My God, that guy has played for 40 teams, it feels like at times.
This Homer's cousin. Y'all know that?
Is it really?
No, I have no idea. I just made that up.
He's only like 5'8" or something. He's really short, so he does not look like him and Homer would be relatives.
Yeah. You never know. So Brandon Bailey, yes, 6th-round pick of the A's.
Homer's mom is like 4'8".
Really?
Yeah, she's tiny lady.
I forgot that he was traded. He played for the Astros opening day roster last year. Good to know he still has his arm and Dusty didn't stretch him too far.
Well, he did need Tommy John surgery.
Oh, I stand corrected.
Dusty wore him out in spring.
He threw 7 innings with the Astros, and that was enough. I mean, this is a guy the Reds definitely like. I mean, they traded for him for cash last year. So I mean, this is a guy they like, and then they non-tendered him and then re-signed him right away. He is a driveline guy.
He's not going to pitch this year, is he?
He is. What I read was he's hoping to be back and ready by opening day. He's, some of the driveline guys have like crazy Tommy John timelines. Like they're trying to, cut the recovery time back. Now it still seems like probably a stretch he's ready by the end of the year, but a guy coming back from Tommy John, I mean, the Reds definitely, there's obviously something, with him that they like, but yeah, I mean, I read some stuff about, with the drive line, his fastball is not that fast. I think it's only like 93 miles an hour, but it's apparently like crazy deceptive. So, I don't know. I mean, he's the guy that has reached the majors and, does have some strikeout potential. It's some pretty, solid minor league numbers throughout. He was picked up on a Rule 5, so there's been some teams that have wanted him. So I think that's some positive.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull this up real quick. So we got a comment here from Sean on the Facebook page. It says, I think the Reds are just adding some of these guys for fillers in Louisville. With players in the 40-man roster not being allowed to play, We'll probably see more minor league signings than normal. Also, don't forget the minor league part of the Rule 5 draft is in 2 days. So that's a good point. I mean, thanks Sean. Thanks for posting. We appreciate it. But I think that Carlos kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier too. Is this a possibility we could see a little more of that this year?
Yeah. No, I completely forgot the minor league Rule 5 draft is. I mean, I could be wrong on this, but I think it's very, very unlikely that anyone in the Rule 5 minor league portion of the draft ever reaches the majors. I don't know, Carlos. Do you know anything about that?
I don't know anybody that has.
I think it's we're talking real long shot. I think that's more like filler pieces for your minor leagues. It's
like you had a run of injury at catcher, and all of a sudden you need more bodies. Can't wait till the draft, so just got to sign. Just got to pick some up from other teams. Because it costs like $10,000 for each player, maybe. Super cheap.
Maybe not with the new CBA. That's something, honestly. I mean, I'd love to see, like minor league players get better compensated. I like to see, players like Jonathan India get compensated. Those are the guys I'm rooting for. I mean, with all due respect, I'm not rooting for the Max Scherzers of the world and the lockout. And that's just the interesting thing is there's so many different dynamics to the lockout. You on both sides, so you have players like you have Max Scherzer and Jonathan India, which are two completely different, what they want out of this. And then you have, teams with $200+ million payrolls like the Dodgers, and then teams with $50 million payrolls like the Pirates. And they have completely different goals in this. So you're kind of stretched almost in 4 different directions, from different ownership types and different player types. So that's one of the things I think will really kind of, drag this out a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely, it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting there. I can't say I'm rooting for the Max Scherzers of this either, so I'm definitely with you.
Yeah, the other kind of dynamic too is, I know everyone's rooting for, the players and this and that, and I generally would say I certainly side with the players, especially the Jonathan Indias and Tyler Stevensons of the world. But it's kind of weird as a Reds fan because some of the things that I think people want, with increased salaries and stuff, it could be sort of detrimental to the Reds in some ways for, their future. So it's kind of like a, it was a conundrum of what do you want to happen? We can want these things to happen, but it might really, hurt the Reds at least in the next, in the near future. So kind of interesting how it'll all play out.
Yeah, I agree. So we kind of wanted to bring this up real quick. So it was discussed on MLB trade rumors, the potential of the Reds moving on from Mike Moustakas. I know before we get to the Twitter verse of the everyone coming together to say yes, the article just kind of breaks down the different things that could happen here. And, obviously he has not performed to his contract. I know there's a lot of people who are very disappointed with what we've gotten from Moustakas so far in the organization. The thing is, as far as I don't necessarily know if he's going to necessarily have a market for the guy. He obviously was injured most of last year. He's got one of the higher contracts on the team, but he did get a bobblehead this year. So you think the Reds could have had a lot more faith in him than what happened, obviously. But when you look at just kind of the lack of performance and the lack of being on the field, I don't necessarily know what a Mike Moustakas market looks like next season.
He's a hell of a car salesman, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Jake Sweeney Automotive or whatever the hell they're called.
Carlos lives in Texas and he knows these commercials. That's how much he sees them.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to eat probably 80-90% of his contract at this point just because of how injury prone he's been the last 2 years. I mean, this is a guy, though, that, did have almost, I think, 10 consecutive years where he was an above average hitter, prior to this season. So, I mean, I'm certainly not against trading him. I mean, if you could find someone, I would say like maybe like, you know, my cut line, and this is just a rough, would be maybe like 50%. If someone would take 50% of his salary, I would say, yeah, sure, maybe move on. But if you're talking like 80%, man, I feel like just bring him back and see what he has, you know. I mean, he's 33. He's not, you know, he's not 37 or anything like that. You know, he has
like he's 37.
He does, you know. But I mean, I don't know. If you're going to be paying 80%, it's just kind of like, you know, it's not like you're going to be opening up the payroll to sign someone else. Like that's changed pretty much at that point. So I don't know. I would prefer, unless they're able to really, you know, swing someone into taking a large, at least like 50% of his contract, or if they're adding him on to like a Sonny Gray trade, where they're able to get someone to take like all of his contract. That'd be probably the only way that I would say it's worth it. But
him and Nick Senzel and a relatively decent prospect, and get back maybe a fourth outfielder.
That would be selling. I mean, I'll tell you what I found out is that Kansas City Royals fans still very much love Mike Moustakas. Still big fans.
Yes, they are.
So
I doubt the Royals ownership is a fan of his contract, though.
But they got those new unis. They brought back those baby powder blues full time. You know, Mike Moustakas might look pretty good in blue. Is that considered tampering at this point because there's no like negotiations?
I don't think it is. You know, if it's between owners, as long as there's no agents or players involved, I don't really think it is. I mean, they're still working. So,
do you think they have to be like, we'll send you veteran third baseman number 9. In return, we want prospect outfielder number 13 and prospect shortstop number 7.
Well, we're trying to move from the antler guy. Are you interested in the antler guy?
Would you be willing to give up that gentleman you guys have who you would call a junior? Nope, junior's saying too much. Sorry. He has the same name as the person before him. Is that possible? That's
I don't know.
I've reference, folks.
You guys mentioned Senzel. I've talked myself into Senzel.
I have too.
I don't want to. Like, I just want to be like, I just want to give up. Like, it's so like over. Like, I'm just like, the position flexibility and the on base skills. Like, I can't quit him. I don't know what it is. Like, yeah, I just hope he's one of those guys that, you know, everyone gives up on, and then that's when he powers through. The talent's there, you know. I think people were too high on him when they came up, but I think they're too low on him now. So I don't know. I'm rooting for you. Nick.
Oh, dude, I still want him to come and be Willie Mays, even though he's not going to be Willie Mays. You know what I mean? Like, I still want him to be incredible, and I wanted to do it here on our team. So if I'm still the flag bearer of the Nick Senzel fan club, I guess I'll just have to die on that hill.
I mean, he's the kind of player that the Red ceiling just, I mean,
yeah,
he completely changes the whole lineup. If you have a healthy Nick Senzel and, you know, he produces like you expect him to.
I just want him to get extra base hits and steal bases. That's all I ask. Like, he's very fast. We've seen it. You know, like Carlos talked about when he played with Chris Dickerson, it was very similar to him. Like, that's all I want from him. Just extra base hits and steals, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a solid defender, and he's someone that would just get better with his speed over time, especially in JBB. So he's going to improve the defense, and it's hard to see him if he's healthy really being anything less than at least an average hitter, right? So I mean, you get an average hitter, solid fielder with some speed. I mean, that's a valuable player. You know, he doesn't need to hit like Jonathan India because he's playing a premium position.
Yeah. That's why he'd be a good guy to put in that Mike Moustakas deal.
Could you just imagine if the Reds trade him and like he becomes like the next Chris Taylor, like I'm dreaming of? Like, oh my goodness, he's an all-star next year. Like,
you dreaming of Chris Taylor?
I'm always dreaming of Chris Taylor.
Weirdo.
Phrasing. Yeah. So we do have this comment on the YouTube. Shout out to Every Day is Like a Field Trip. Thanks for commenting and hanging with us. It says, from what I understand, during the last lockout, owners were forbidden from speaking with one another by Bud Selig. I don't know if it's the same this time around.
That's interesting.
I have no idea.
There also wasn't text messaging though back then, so I don't know. Does that change anything?
Yeah.
Maybe they have encrypted networks that they talk on, back channels.
They all do the Tom Brady. They just smash their cell phones instead of turning them in.
They all burner Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
DM each other.
That's actually a world I want to see. I want to see like all the back channels of like negotiations. Like, I want that to be a book that comes out in like 10 years. Like the Canseco book where he just tried to like tear down baseball. That's the book I actually want.
Yeah, I want to know who all was offered in trades and which GMs like just like lose sleep at night thinking about what they could have, the trade they could have made, or or the ones that were so close to pulling the trigger and like it would have ruined their entire career, but they just didn't at the last minute or whatever. There's so many of these that we have just no idea about.
Do you think that this lockout, hopefully it doesn't get as serious as 94, but do you think we could have a potential situation here where it like could hurt of like a franchise really bad, like the Expos were hurt? I mean, like the 94 Expos, you look at that roster, they were incredible. And, now they're in DC as the Nationals. Like, I don't know if it's that severe, and maybe I'm just overthinking this, which is very possible with me. But,
the TV money just saves everything right now.
True. Yeah.
Where you didn't have that in 94. Just the health of the game, from that standpoint, is going to save. Outside of like Tampa, which they're already in discussions, it's just hard to see really many other teams like, losing their franchise or relocating. Manfred's already said like he wants 2 more teams. So, are they really going to add 2 more teams and relocate like in another team? That's where it really, you run out of cities at some point, that are real, True. Viable cities.
You remember they had that like discussion a couple years ago about the Rays where they're like, they're going to spend part of the year in Tampa and part of the year in Montreal. And I was like, that would piss me off so much as a season ticket holder.
They're pushing that now. They're trying to have that next year. I love it. I think it's awesome. I mean, I'm sure I would hate it if I was a Tampa fan, but I don't know. I think that's fun. I think it's fun to get more cities involved, and Tampa they can't get more than 10,000 people during most of their games. So, why not bring them down here in the cold months, have them up there in the warm months? It'd be cool to have a stadium in Montreal that was outdoors, if you're not playing the cold months. I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it's fun, but it's not my team. I don't know if the Reds went down to Nashville, like let's say they sold like 15 games to Nashville. What would you think about that? That's kind of a fun weekend trip. Go see your Reds play in Nashville.
Stop it. Just stop it, Nick. You don't even come see your Cincinnati Reds anymore.
And I've made plenty of trips to see my Cincinnati Reds.
You're like that far away from Cincinnati on the map.
The map, yes. The drive, not so much. Carlos, I don't know if you noticed, but the drive between Cleveland and Cincinnati is pretty terrible.
What is it, like 3 hours?
The length is not the issue. It's that there's nothing on the road back and forth.
I'm closer to like 5, especially with kids that have to stop every 3 seconds. And
yeah, my wife is making that drive this weekend to see her family, and I am not going because I have to do some basketball games.
Oh, party at Tim's.
Yeah.
Is there a big basketball game this weekend?
Just a bit.
Who does NKU and Miami or something play?
Kinesis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Kinesis.
Everyone gets up for Kinesis.
Yes. Hi, Sydney. Thanks for joining in. Shall we talk about the Jose Barrero news now?
Absolutely.
Yes. Jose Barrero going to play some winter ball.
This is what Carlos has been asking for.
That's right.
How dare Doug put Reds shortstop? We all know he's a center fielder. Quit playing, Doug.
Center fielder / shortstop. We're multi-positional here. But yeah, I think it was cool that they were working with him, before the lockout and getting him ready for winter ball. And I think it was cool that the Reds were, out. The Reds coach staff was out working with Barrero and with Aquino, and I think that's great.
I'm for it, man. If they can play multiple positions and not get injured, bring it.
Position flexibility is king.
So what? He's just going to play like in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
They're already in the playoffs?
I think they are.
I want to say they start pretty quick. Yeah.
Did you have teammates that did that, Carlos?
What?
Did you have teammates that played like in Dominican for the winter leagues and stuff like that?
I went to Venezuela to play for a month, but as soon as I got over there through my first bullpen, I pulled my groin.
Oh, really?
So that sucked. I was basically stuck there during Christmas, and I couldn't play or basically couldn't leave the hotel. It was terrible. But yeah, I mean, I've played with plenty of guys that have gone over there and played.
So that process, just curious as someone who, like Nick and I, who haven't been in a major league clubhouse before, is that something where I'm trying to think the best way to ask this question. Do those guys know in August they're going, or is it something where the end of the season they're like, hey, what the hell? I'll go get some more at bats, or?
You don't know until your season's over, and basically if they invite you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, some guys know that'll play say maybe who would I could say, I don't know, maybe like a 4A player that has been a catcher there. He's always going to be a catcher there for the next 3 or 4 years. He'll always be the backup catcher or the starting catcher during the regular season, but then the good catcher will come in for the playoffs.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's from what I understand, Jimbo Diaz is like Mariano Rivera in the Dominican League. He is unhittable at times, is what they say.
He pitched in the Olympics.
Yeah, he pitched in the Olympics.
That was fun. So yeah. I got my Dominican winter ball official dates for you. So the season ends January 15th.
Oh shit.
So I guess it started at the end of October. So
is that the playoffs or is that
just says end? So I mean, I'm guessing that's when it's over. But the winning team from the Dominican playoffs actually then goes to the Caribbean series, which starts in January 28th. So I guess it's possible that, but I don't know. I mean, it might be at that point, that they pull him out, because I'm sure he's not committed to the team. It's just going down there to play, right? He's not committed to whatever team he's on. When he says, yeah, I'm good, he's out, right?
Pretty much. There'll be an understanding made before.
Nice.
So they say he's going to get a max 75 at bats, whenever that comes, however they use it, and depending on what's going on over here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no.
Right now, nothing. So
if there's no signs of life, when a Caribbean series starts, the team's in, they might say, yeah, keep playing, Jose.
Yeah.
Albert Pujols is playing there right now. I'm sure that's got to be pretty freaking cool to be we've got nothing to do on a Tuesday night in December. Let's go see Albert Pujols play. Those
games are so fun. They're so intense. Every game is like a game 7, a game 5. It's crazy, intense, and fun.
Are they? Yeah, I was always curious. So my best friend is actually just my buddy is friends with Jumbo. Is Dominican. So when he goes back home to the DR for 2 weeks for the holidays, he'll go to baseball games every night. And so he's I'll be there, and Jose Rio will sit next to me, and we'll be watching games, just hanging out. And it's that sounds like it's a lot of fun, because there, what football is here, obviously that's what baseball is there, but yeah,
it's like the European football game. I mean, it's just chants from first pitch to the end.
I think my favorite, I know we're totally going off topic here, was a couple years ago in the World Baseball Classic when there was, I think it was like Chinese Taipei team. There was a game that they were playing there. And I really loved it was like when they were on the field on defense, the crowd was just really quiet. But when they were batting, the whole crowd was like cheering and chanting.
Yeah.
And stuff. I was like, I thought that was pretty neat.
That's cool.
Yeah. So Sydney says we got some Jose Peraza news.
Peraza signed with the Yankees on a minor league deal.
Ah, so they found their shortstop.
Yeah, I mean, who needs Carlos Correa when you have Jose Peraza?
Absolutely.
Peraza
He was with the
broke my
Mets,
heart.
right?
Yeah,
The Mets, yeah.
he had
the Red Sox for a bit too.
He had a game-winning hit against the Brewers. That felt big at the moment. And
Right, yeah.
Then he got like hurt the next day or that day, didn't he?
your memory's better than mine. Carlos Jose Peraza Stan. Love it.
Real talk.
Love it.
And then let's talk about our guy, our catcher, the future GOAT of the Reds, Steve, Tyler Stevenson. Join the married club, folks. Welcome to the club. I'm only a 6-month member, but it's been great so far. I'm sure it'll be great for you. Had a lot of the Reds guys there at the wedding, so that was pretty neat. I saw the pictures kind of going all over. So, congrats to Tyler Stevenson. Hope you win a Silver Slugger next year, since the Reds aren't allowed to have those.
Future Hall of Famer Tyler Stevenson.
Mm-hmm.
Reds Hall of Famer or MLB Hall of Famer?
I'm leaving that open to interpretation.
Mm-hmm. Probably with India, the top 2 jerseys that'll be purchased after Joey leaves, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. Carlos? Did you ever go to a teammate's wedding?
Not anybody that you would know. No.
Did you go to other minor league players' weddings?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Nothing.
It was pretty cool. I mean, he had India and Schrock and Trammell and Friedel. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, the DJ Friedel is a Reds Hall of Famer. I will delete my Twitter account. You can hold me to it.
Well, I mean, it's on wax now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. So first episode post-lockout. Obviously, we're figuring this out as the baseball world is figuring it out too. So thank you all who are patient with us, because we had some stretches in this one. We definitely had to push through. But we definitely appreciate everything. I know this is crazy, and we're all waiting for Reds news because we all want to see it again. But we'll be here every Monday. Shout outs to Believe and Bet Online. Check out Late Night Reds Talk Live. And be sure to give us a nice solid review on the Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Twitter at Late Reds, where you get all of our updates. And you can see our live shows when we put them up on Monday. So on behalf of Dick and Carlos, thank you guys for everything. Back next week. Have a good one.